Today I'm making a carrot cake recipe, but the first part of the cake that needs to be done is the frosting, and I am using the vanilla frosting sauce from the Baby Cakes Bakery cookbook with a few changes. First thing they ask us to do is add some unsweetened soy milk and soy milk powder to a food processor, and also adding some coconut flour, and let's see, I'm actually making a big change. I'm using coconut milk, a light coconut milk, instead of the soy milk. While I was at it, I added the agave nectar and the vanilla. And one of the drawbacks with using vanilla paste rather than vanilla extract is that you see all the tiny vanilla bean specks. So, well, people will just have to know that their frosting is honest to goodness vanilla. Now we can see that that mixture is all blended together, and now the recipe calls for us to alternate the lemon juice with the coconut oil while the machine is running. Since coconut oil is actually solid at room temperature, look at this. Isn't that scary? But supposedly it's very good for you, and the good thing about it is if you get a little on your hands during the recipe, you just rub it in, you get really nice soft hands. Anyway, since I would like to see how it looks in between additions, I'm going to not add it while the motor is running and just add little bits of it here and there. At this point, I have added the remaining ingredients, the rest of the coconut oil and the rest of the lemon juice. And it has such a satiny sheen to it. I taste a little bit of it and it's profoundly coconutty. I was thinking that after it chills and sets, I might frost the cake with it and then sprinkle some coconut over it. It would be really good, I think. So it has to thicken up quite a bit, and even though I cut the liquid, it's still pretty wet. But it'll harden up, that's for sure, because of the nature of the coconut oil. So we'll see this in about 6 hours. Sometimes I get so involved in a recipe I forget that I actually have a camera so I can take pictures of what's going on. So far in this recipe, the cardamom spiced carrot cake, which I'm veganizing, I have combined all the dry ingredients, and I've made a few substitutions. I'm using whole wheat pastry flour and coconut flour instead of all-purpose flour. Whole wheat pastry flour is really great, and it can be used one-to-one for all-purpose flour very easily. And the coconut flour is used for several different reasons. Number one, it has fiber, and because it has that fiber, it absorbs liquid in recipes, so it does really well. I'm also using cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, baking soda, baking powder, which was not in the original recipe, but because we're using so much agave nectar in here, when I say so much, I just mean, comparatively to other recipes, because I'm using so much liquid, we need more lift. And finally, there's some salt in here. So this has been whisked together so that it's uniform, and then when we mix all the wet ingredients together and we add this to it, we won't have hidden lumps of cardamom in here and that kind of thing. So we're going to move on and do the liquid ingredients. This, well, it's not all that appealing, but the health benefits of this are very appealing. It's an egg substitute, a traditional egg substitute. It's flax meal with water. And what happens when you mix flax meal with water is that it becomes very gelatinous. And there's proteins and fats in here, so that when you add it to baked goods, it makes them behave a lot more like they have eggs in them, except without the lift factor that eggs give recipes. So this is what I'm going to be using. Instead of the 4 eggs, I'm using 4 teaspoons of ground flax meal and 4 tablespoons of water, and I mixed them well, and they've been sitting, and I'm going to let them sit a little bit longer while I mix up the other liquid ingredients. Another little bit of food chemistry that you might find interesting is adding apple cider vinegar in small amounts to other liquids such as soy milk or rice milk or any other kind of milk. In this case, I'm going to use some leftover coconut milk that I used for the frosting for this cake. So I'm going to combine coconut milk and apple cider vinegar to make a buttermilk of sorts. The other thing about apple cider vinegar is that it reacts with the other ingredients in the recipe to give it more lift, which is great because it will end up being a very heavy cake otherwise. So that's another substitution that I'm adding to help veganize this recipe. The kitchen smells so good now from all that wonderful cardamom and the dry ingredients that we have over here. I've stuck all of the wet ingredients in the mixer, and now I'm going to mix it all together. So in here we have the coconut milk and agave nectar and some olive oil, the flax seeds, and let's see, the apple cider vinegar, and some vanilla. So that's our wet ingredients, and now they're well incorporated. The next thing I'm going to do is gradually mix in the dry ingredients until everything is very combined, and then we have our add-ins. I'm actually adding in some currants because I like them. I think they would make a good addition to the cake. We have some beat up, and when I say beat up, I use the mallet to break up these walnuts, and of course our carrots to make it a carrot cake. So we'll see when this all is combined. Well, this is some carroty looking batter here. I have combined the liquid with the dry, and then afterward I folded in the dried fruit and the nuts and all that carrot, and it looks fantastic. And one of the best things about making recipes vegan is that you can try a little bit of it without worrying about tasting raw eggs. Wow, it's very cardamom-y. It's going to be great. So what I'm going to do now is put this into 2 prepared pans, and what I've done with the pans is I have spread some oil in the pans and coated them with some flour, so hopefully the cake won't stick to the pans when they come out of the oven and they're cooled. We'll see this when it looks like a cake. Here is one of the layers of the cake right out of the oven. Oh, fantastic. Smells so good. And here is another one, and we can see places where I poked holes. There's also a little cracking going on. I'm not really sure why that is. It probably could be from my opening up the oven at certain points. There's a crack or two here, but the good news is we're going to be frosting these, so nobody will be any wiser. Oh, here is one of the wonderful layers. It's about, I don't know, would you say that's about an inch thick, and it came out of the pan perfectly. This is the other one, also came out of the pan perfectly. So I'm going to let these cool completely before I put them together and frost them. Okay, I have put a layer of frosting on the bottom layer, and now I'm going to stick the top layer on. But one note about the frosting got very, very hard. I think it's because of the nature of the coconut oil. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting it into pieces and putting it in the food processor and sort of whipping it up. So it's kind of a nice consistency.